In this video, I want to discuss something most Revit tutorials never mention. What to actually consider when you create a new parameter. I call them king parameters, the ones with 3 traits combined. They vary per group, evaluate inside an if statement, and display with no unit symbol assigned. This is an advanced Revit topic, so I'll assume you already know what an instance parameter is, what a type parameter is, what model groups are, and how formulas function in Revit. If you don't, pause this video, study those first, and then return. Why does this matter? If you are planning a Revit library, setting up workflows for a company, or working as a freelancer, picking the wrong parameter data type early will cost you in time. Either you will have to recreate the parameter and migrate values across every project, or you will lose the functionality you wanted entirely. So let's get this right the first time. Here are 3 questions before you commit. First, can this data type vary per group? Second, can it sit inside an if statement on the validation or condition side? And third, how does it display in Revit? Does it come with a default unit symbol attached? Let's examine each one. So the first one is vary per group. When you create a family parameter or a project parameter, you choose type or instance, choose instance, and you get another decision vary by group or align by group. Often overlooked, this single setting is very important if you plan to work with model groups later. If a parameter can vary per group, you can place the same model group 10 times in your model, and each placed instance can hold a different value separately defined. So basic wall inside a group, copy the group 10 times. One says wall 1, next says wall 2, wall 3, down the line. Each element in place group keeps its own value even though the group type is the same. Watch what happens when I change the value on this one. See? The others stay unchanged. Now, if you want a parameter that varies per group, you must pick a data type that supports it. And here's the twist. Look at this list. Most of them support vary per group, without doubt. But the popular ones, number, length, integer, slope, and yes, no, which is essentially a bool, a 1 or a 0, these do not vary per group. The ones we reach for every single day. Meanwhile, the more obscure ones quietly do, a fact that surprised me the first time I tested it through. A quick aside, if you are not using model groups yet, begin to learn them today. Significant performance gains arrive once you understand the way. At some point when I record it, I'll link a separate video about model group benefits in the description below. Second question is, can this data type sit on the condition side of an if formula? The rule from Autodesk, if conditions only accept numeric values, numeric parameter names, and yes, no parameters. You can use a text parameter in the output, like in this example, if length greater than 35, string 1, string 2, that works because on the condition side the length is parameter with length data type and text is the value returned. But you cannot do if string 1, 1, 0, because if text is on the condition side, Revit rejects it. So if your plan is to drive logic with this parameter, flip something on or off, branch outputs, count or skip, the data type must be numeric or yes, no on the left side of the comparison. So combined with the vary per group filter, we can start to see a clearer picture of parameters we can use for both vary per group and in formulas. At first, it might seem that we can use quite a lot of substitute parameters, but let's look at the third column. The third filter, does the data type have default unit symbol? Even if a data type passes the first two, it might still show strange values to the user. Because if we are using substitutes for yes-no checkbox type parameter, we have to be able to explain users to use simple 1 and 0, not 1 watt or 1 volt. I made a global parameter for each data type, and as you can see, most carry a unit symbol attached by default. That becomes a problem if you intend to use the parameter as a flag or count substitute. For example, let's look at temperature. If I use this as a counting takeoff substitute and I write 1 or 0 to compare in a formula, it appears to the user as 1 Celsius or 1 Kelvin. Confusing to read, confusing to review. Many data types display 0 point, then 6 zeros following the dot, and that does not look good at all. Currency, the same situation. By default, it is without symbol, but you might format it depending on project. Then you end up with $1 or €1 stuck on every value, depending on your project units. Not the appearance you wanted. Number of poles is interesting. Clean, no unit symbol on the side. But here is the catch. It cannot be set to 0. The default is null and the minimum value you can enter is 1, so you cannot use it for a 1-0 flag. So what are we left with? Not much. If I have to pick one, I like distance. Distance varies per group, supports with validation, and carries no default unit symbol. Plus, everyone understands what distance means. In my opinion, it is the most intuitive choice. If for some reason you actually do need a unit symbol, say you want centimeters by default, reinforcement cover and reinforcement spacing also work. They look clean in the schedule and present no conflict. And honestly, you're probably not using them for actual reinforcement work, so you can repurpose them without any naming collision in the field. One more thing, and this one will burn you if you ignore it. All these parameters are on null by default, not zero. Do not ignore it. What that means, if your formula is if distance greater than 0 count in takeoff, don't count, and you have not touched the distance value on a particular element. The formula does not return don't count, it returns null, an empty cell with nothing to display. Look at this schedule, see how half the cells are blank. That is not a broken formula, those are untouched parameters. You sit there thinking the formula is broken, spend an hour debugging, but the fix is simple, populate every element with at least 0. Once the value exists, even if it is 0, the formula fires correctly with no second guess. Once I batch set all of these to 0, the schedule fills in row by row. Plan parameters before you build families and groups. If you set up a parameter wrong and realize later you need it to vary per group, or you need it inside a formula, you will have to recreate it, transfer all values, and repeat across every project. Imagine you build a family, populate hundreds of instances, set up groups, place them everywhere, and only then notice the data type cannot be used in if formulas. You are stuck, no undo function will reverse that kind of mistake. And honestly, I still cannot understand why Revit does not let a simple integer or yes-no vary per group. It is the simplest bool, a 1 or a 0. It would solve 90% of the cases people need this for. So, to recap, 5 things to remember. 1. A king parameter varies per group, works in if formulas, and has no default unit symbol to appear. 2. The popular types like number, length, integer, slope, and yes-no will fail, the vary per group filter. 3. Distance is the best all-around pick. Reinforcement spacing or cover are the backups when a unit symbol has to be set for distance. 4. Every parameter is null by default. If formulas will not fire until each value is set, use 0 as the baseline. 5. Plan first because switching parameter types after the fact is painful. Plan first or pay the cost. And that's it. Links to all the Autodesk help pages, common parameter data types, vary per group, and formulas are in the description. I hope this helped. Please consider subscribing, have a great day, and see you in the next video.